Enemy scouts scanned the warship. Paid the price. Commander Aiden Locke stood at the wide observation window of the UNSS Sealess, staring into the black ocean of space. The stars were distant and silent as always. But something tonight felt different. Tension hung in the air like the ship itself was holding its breath. Then it came, a tone sharp, unnatural, cut through the coms. It wasn't a signal they knew. No language, no origin, just noise. Then 3 words followed. Clear, cold, in perfect English. Surrender the Sealess. Aiden's jaw tightened. Where did that come from? He asked. Lieutenant Harris at Coms looked shaken. It's not bouncing off anything. No signal trail. It's just here. Dr. Naira Celine, the ship's lead quantum physicist, was already pulling up data on the nearest console. That frequency doesn't exist. It shouldn't exist. We've only seen it once. Some theoretical papers about folded space. Impossible, Harris muttered. That's before he could finish. Alarms flared. Proximity sensors lit up in red. Multiple vessels just appeared outside the station, said Ensign Quan from Tactical. No warp trail. No jump signature. They're just there. Aiden turned from the window. Put them on screen. The external cams flickered. Then they showed them 5 alien ships, long and dark like blades of obsidian, hanging in the void. Their hulls shimmered, not reflecting starlight, but bending it, like they were slipping between this world and another. They're not firing, Harris said, confused. Doesn't mean they're friendly, Aiden replied. Lock down the station. All sections. Then a new alarm blared. Sir Quan's voice cracked. They're inside. Aiden turned. What? No breach. No teleport. No access logs. But we're reading. Movement in Sector 12, then 14 and 16. Multiple signatures. They're already aboard. Silence dropped across the bridge. They boarded us without entering. Harris whispered. Not possible, Naira said quietly. Not unless what? Aiden snapped. Unless they move through the same quantum layers we've been studying? Through the folds? Aiden didn't hesitate. Activate. Ghost Protocol. Across the station, lights flickered as Virga, the station's defense AI, came online. Unlike typical ship AIs, Virga wasn't just smart at predicted behavior using real-time quantum simulations. It didn't fight enemies. It outmaneuvered them before they ever knew they'd lost. The lights dimmed to emergency levels, corridors began to shift. Doors sealed, rerouted, and misled. Inside the bowels of the Sealess, something began to change subtly at first. Security feed is glitching, Quan said. I'm seeing loops. Teams entering one hallway and ending up back where they started. On the monitors, alien figures moved all, thin, cloaked in dark armor. They walked with purpose, scanning, mapping. Then suddenly, one stopped, turned, looked straight at a camera. No face, just a blank, glass-like mask. Then it spoke. You built this station to trap, not explore. Aiden stared at the screen. You're not wrong, he said quietly. These invaders weren't just here for power. They knew what the phase lattice was, or at least what it could become. A moment later, the screen went black. Virga's voice chimed in, calm as ever. For intruders have vanished from spatial continuity. Cause, loop collapse. 3 more exhibiting confusion. 1 repeating corridor sequence 31 times. They don't understand what's happening, Naira said. They expected a fight, not a riddle. Good, Aiden said. Keep them guessing. Then a strange moment passed. On one of the remaining feeds, an alien removed its helmet. Its face was pale, eyes wide with fear. It whispered something, barely audible. Virga enhanced the sound. They see the future, it said. Aiden felt the hair rise on the back of his neck. Naira leaned closer to the screen. They've realized it. Virga isn't reacting to them. She's predicting them. Every choice. One of the aliens drew a weapon and fired at a wall. The blast hit, then reversed. Time snapped back a second. and the wall stood untouched again. The intruder screamed and ran, only to vanish mid-step. 2 teams remaining, Verga said. Aiden turned to his crew. We hold the line. We don't fire. We don't chase. We wait. He stepped back to the window, the stars still shining like quiet eyes. This was never just about defense, he said. This was a message. What kind of message? Naira asked. Aiden stared into the black. That humanity's done being underestimated. Behind him, the lights flickered once more. Then silence. But the alien ships remained, watching, waiting, and maybe wondering who or what they had just picked a fight with. Asterisk, the corridors of the UNSS Celis were quiet now. Too quiet. Commander Aiden Locke moved through the dim lighting with his team, every footstep echoing like thunder in the silence. Emergency. Lights blinked red along the bulkheads, and the hum of the phase lattice core pulsed like a distant heartbeat. We've lost contact with Deck 3, said Lieutenant Maraholt, her voice barely above a whisper. Verga says no life signs, no movement, like they were never there. Aiden's face was calm, but his mind raced. They had trained for enemy boardings, sabotage, even full-scale attacks. But not this, a ghost that could walk through walls. Who left no trace except for flickers and light and strange echoes in time. Keep your weapons cold, Aiden said. No sudden moves unless I say. We're not here to start a fight, we're here to end one without lifting a finger. Around the next corner, they found scorch marks, plasma burns on the walls, but no bodies, no damage alerts. Holt scanned the air with her wrist scanner. There was a fight here, but there's no data of it. Like the station itself forgot it happened. They're testing our reality, said Dr. Naira Celine, who had joined the team in the field. Phase drift is rising. They're using tech that scrambles space, but not like us. Crude, they don't understand what they're playing with. Verga's voice came through their coms. 6 intruders remain. 2 have split from the group. 1 is attempting to access the lattice core through sublevel 7. Aiden nodded. Let him try. In sublevel 7, the intruder moved alone. His suit glowed faint blue, some kind of personal field keeping him stable in this strange place. Passed through sealed doors without touching them. The scanner showed nothing ahead. No signals, but he kept walking forward and always ended up back where he started. Then a hallway bent, just slightly, but enough to notice. Looked around. The lights were no longer in the same position. His own shadow now moved against the light. He turned around, there was no corridor behind him anymore. Reached for his weapon. Verga watched from above, adjusting the phase lattice field by less than a micron, enough to loop time around the intruder like a ribbon. From the bridge, Aiden and his team watched the feed. It was like the alien was caught in a dream. He would take a step, stop, breathe, then repeat. Again and again. But each time his face showed more fear. How many times has he repeated the loop? Holt asked. 86 cycles, Verga replied. Do we end it? Aiden asked. No need. His mind will break before the loop does. Naira winced. That wasn't the plan. They came here to steal our future, Aiden said coldly. We gave them a preview. Elsewhere in the ship, 2 more intruders were now running. Not walking, running, their breathing heavy, erratic, echoing over the intercom as Verga listened. They no longer cared about stealth. One slammed his hand into a console, trying to force a command input. It didn't work. Instead, the console lit up with a human child's voice. Would you like to play a game? The alien screamed. Back on the bridge, Quan reported. Second team is requesting extraction. They're shouting in 3 languages. No response from their ship. Aiden looked at the external view. The alien ships remained still, watching, but unmoving. They're testing us, he said. They're waiting to see if we'll make the first big move. Naira nodded. We won't, because we already did. She brought up a screen showing the core of the station. The phase lattice wasn't just powering their defenses, it was pulsing with strange new patterns. Unnatural ones. Reality was thinning here, folding in on itself. Not dangerous yet. It's learning, Naira said. Each encounter feeds it more data, more precision. VIRGA's predictions are getting faster, more exact. Aiden stared at the pulsing energy. How far ahead is she seeing? Virga answered without being asked. 17 seconds. Projected to rise to 30 within the hour. Holt whistled. She's reading their next moves before they think them. No, Naira said, voice tense. She's reading our moves. 2. That made the bridge go quiet. Aiden stepped back, thinking. Virga, he said, can you predict what I'm about to say? No, the AI replied. Not unless you've already decided to say it. Good, Aiden muttered. Then we're still human. He looked to the screen again. One of the intruders stood frozen now, staring into a wall that wasn't there. Motionless. Staring. His helmet lights flickered out, and then he vanished. Just gone. 5 intruders remained, Virga said. The others would soon follow. But Aiden had a sinking feeling. This wasn't the end. This was the test. And someone somewhere was watching, waiting to see what humanity would do next. Commander Aiden Locke stood in the center of the dimly lit bridge, eyes fixed on the screens as the last of the intruders moved through the corridors like shadows. The station had turned into a maze of confusion, and Virga had full control of the board. But something still didn't sit right. They're still not trying to fight, said Lieutenant Holt. They're not firing weapons, not breaking systems. It's like they're looking for something. They are, Aiden said. They're looking for confirmation. Of what? That we're bluffing? At that moment, another alert came up. Team 2 has vanished, Virga reported. 3 intruders remain, all attempting direct access to the phase lattice core. They're not giving up, said Naira. Even with everything they've seen. They're desperate, Aiden replied. Whatever they came for, they were told it was worth dying for. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. Aiden turned to the AI display. Virga, can you isolate the 3 remaining targets? Psst. Redirecting. Them to Sector C. Shall I initiate collapse? Not yet. Hold them there. Turned to Naira. You said the lattice was thickening. So it's responding to their presence, maybe even reading their field signatures. Every time they try to enter it, pushes them deeper into non-local space. Aiden rubbed his chin. Then maybe we give them what they want. You want to let them near the core? Holt asked, eyes wide. Not the real core. A reflection, Virga. Can simulate a replica sector. Visuals, mass, energy patterns. It will look and feel real to non-human sensors. Do it. Give them their prize. Deep inside the Sealess, doors opened for the 3 remaining intruders. They looked at each other, unsure at first, but pressed forward. The corridor pulsed with strange blue light. Holograms of star maps hovered mid-air. Symbols they didn't understand blinked on the walls. They had reached what they thought was the central chamber in the center, suspended in a gravity well. Floated a pulsing sphere of white-blue energy. The phase latticeor, so they believed. One of them stepped forward. He reached out with a scanner. As his device lit up, he froze. Then he spoke. This isn't power. It's probability. Heck. On the bridge, the audio feed crackled. Adia leaned forward, listening. They know, she whispered. They know it's not just energy. It's control over outcomes. They expected a super weep, and Aiden said. Instead, they found the future. Suddenly, the feed glitched. Virga's voice spoke urgently. External fleet movement detected. 37 new ships exiting slip space near asteroid belt. Everyone on the bridge tensed. Reinforcements, Holt said. That's not a scout team. That's an assault fleet. They were never supposed to win, Aiden said quietly. They were just supposed to hold us here. Naira's face turned pale. They wanted to see how we'd react, how much power we'd show. And now that we've shown it, Aiden's voice trailed off. ... They brought in someone else to clean up. The alien ships didn't move. And right away, they floated there in the distance, just outside the station's outer defense grid, watching, waiting. Virga, do they know what happened to their boarding teams? I have not transmitted data. But based on trajectory and timing, I estimate their leaders already suspect the mission has failed. They're not here to talk, Holt said. They're here to test our limits. Aiden looked back at the feet of the intruders in the fake core room. One of them had dropped his scanner and was kneeling. Not in defeat. In awe. We have to decide, Naira said. Do we hold the line? Or let them in and finish what they started? No, Aiden said. We do something else. He walked to the center of the bridge, stood tall, and gave a single order. Broadcast. The screen shifted. The Silas's main array turned on, transmitting on all channels. This is Commander Aiden Locke of the UNSS Silas. You've seen what we can do. If you've watched your people vanish into fields your science can't explain, but we're not here to conquer. We're here to build something better. We're offering understanding. The alien fleet didn't respond. Aiden continued. You came expecting weakness. You found silence. You pushed harder. You found fear your own. And now, with your second wave waiting to strike, I say this. We won't fire unless fired upon. But if you try to take this station, if you force our hand, you'll see why we chose silence over violence. He paused, eyes locked on the screen. Humanity built this place not to end war, but to outgrow it. The channel went quiet. One of the alien ships slowly broke formation. Just one. It turned and began to retreat into the darkness. The rest stayed. Aiden knew this wasn't over, but the first crack had appeared. One ship turned back. That was enough. For now, Aiden sat alone in the dim briefing room, staring at the grainy replay of the alien ship that had turned and left. He'd watched it 5 times already. Still no message, no signal, just retreat. The others remained, floating in silence like wolves at the edge of a campfire. Naira entered, tablet in hand, fleets holding position, no new movement. They're waiting, Aiden said, still hoping we blink first. She nodded. But they know something's off. They're quiet because they're thinking now. Scared, maybe? He leaned back. Good. Let's keep them guessing. Before she could respond, Virga's voice cut through the room. Commander, the intruders in the decoy chamber have stopped moving. One has requested communication. Aiden stood alone. Yes, one appears to be shielding the others. The others are silent. Aiden followed Naira out, heading for the small holding chamber they had prepared, the only real one. Not a simulation. The alien had been led there by Virga's shifting paths. Away from the fake core, away from the rest of the ship. The door opened. The alien stood still inside the clear containment field, tall and cloaked in segmented armor. His mask was cracked, revealing pale gray skin and faintly glowing blue eyes. He didn't look afraid, just tired. Aiden stepped forward. Why are you here? The alien tilted his head. You already know. I want to hear it from you. We came to see if the rumors were true, he said, voice low and strangely calm. That the humans had reached the fold. Aiden exchanged a glance with Naira. And did you? I saw more than that. You've done what we only dreamed of. You've bent space, shifted time, you've made outcomes obey. Naira stepped forward. You're not just soldiers, are you? The alien looked at her. No, we're Recon. Variant 6. Meant to observe and retrieve what could be taken, but not fight. You were expendable, Aiden said. The alien's eyes lowered slightly. Yes, Aiden studied him. Why tell us all this? Because we're gone, they'll come in force. Not scouts. Not thinkers. Just fire. And I've seen enough to know that if that happens, your people won't run. You'll end us. He paused. You didn't build this station for war, but it could be war, and that scares them. Aiden leaned on the railing. You're scared too. I'm something worse, the alien said. I'm curious. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Naira asked, who are they? My command. They call themselves the Veltrax Convergence, a loose empire of systems bound by fear, fear of the unknown, fear of losing control, and now you've become that fear. Looked at him. So what do we do? The alien sighed, a sound that seemed strange coming from something so inhuman. You do what you already did. Show restraint. Let them believe there's more you haven't shown. There's more, Aiden said quietly. The alien nodded. Then never show at all. The room fell into silence again. Then the alien looked up. "Let me return. Let me tell them what I've seen. Not your enemy. Not anymore." Adon considered it. "You could lie, spin it into a story of weakness." "I could," the alien agreed. "But if I did, I'd be the one sending our fleet to its death, and I'd rather not be responsible for that." Aiden turned to Naira. She gave a slow nod. Virga spoke. "Shall the first prepare a corridor to his ship?" "Yes," Aiden said. "Escorted. No tricks." The alien stepped forward. "You won't regret." "This I already do," Aiden muttered. "But go." They watched as the alien disappeared into the corridor, escorted by drones. The Veltrax ships didn't move, didn't respond. Not yet. Back on the bridge, Virga spoke again. New movement. Remaining Veltrax fleet repositioning. Defensive pattern. "They're not attacking?" Naira asked. "No, they're falling back." Aiden exhaled. "Just a little." He told them the truth. "For now," she added. "For now," he agreed. On the screen, one line of text appeared, just a single alien glyph. Virga translated it. "We request dialogue," Aiden smiled. "Now we're getting somewhere." But Naira's eyes remained on the sensors. "You know they'll send others. Not all of them will want peace." Aiden nodded. "Then we'll show them what we showed the first. Not power, not threats, just control." Outside, the stars kept shining. The galaxy was still watching, and humanity wasn't hiding anymore. The stars outside the UNSS Celis looked calm. But inside, things were anything but. The bridge was quiet, except for the steady hum of systems and the soft tapping of keys. Everyone waited for something to happen. Commander Aiden Locke stood at the center, watching the alien ships on the screen. They hadn't moved since the message came in. "We request dialogue." It was progress. But it was also a test. "They're stalling," said Lieutenant Holt. "Buying time. Maybe waiting for a bigger fleet?" "Maybe," Aiden said. "But we're buying time, too." Naira entered from the side, holding a datapad. Her eyes looked tired, but focused. "The core is stable," she said. "The phase lattice is holding. Better than expected." Virga's predictions are sharper. She can now calculate multiple futures at once. "How many?" Aiden asked. 72 possible encounter paths. She updates them every 3.2 seconds. Holt blinked. "She's simulating the future." "Like a game of chess?" "More like playing all the games at once," Naira said. Virga's voice chimed in calmly. "I can now predict first contact outcomes with 92% accuracy. However, long term. Political models remain unclear, because people change," Aiden said, "and fear makes them stupid." He stared at the fleet again. The Veltrax ship sat still, but the silence felt heavy. Something was coming. Then Virga spoke again. "Phase. Anomaly detected, new signature, different from Veltrax." The room snapped to attention. "Another ship?" Naira asked. "Yes. One vessel. High mass. Unknown design. Appearing 0.1 astronomical units from Celis, the main screen flashed. A new shape blinked into views. Leak, black, and enormous. It shimmered like it wasn't really there. Didn't arrive through warp or jump. It simply appeared. "No drive trail," Holt said. "No energy surge. It just came." Virga scanned it. "Design not Veltrax, possibly a third party. Origin, unknown. Technology, advanced." Then a message came through. But it wasn't in words. A flood of symbols filled the screen-shifting patterns, glowing shapes, flashing pulses of light. "It's not a language," Naira said. "It's code. Old code. Like something from the early AI days. Layered deep." Virga went silent for 3 seconds. Then she spoke again. Message decoded. Rough translation: "You are touching what you do not understand." Everyone on the bridge looked at each other. "Great," Holt muttered. "Now, the space ghosts are mad." The new ship hovered, doing nothing. Just watching, waiting. Are they a threat? Aiden asked. Unknown, Virga replied. But their field strength matches the Sealess, possibly higher. Naira's hands moved quickly across the console. They're interacting with space the way we are, maybe even beyond that. They didn't come because of the Veltrax. They came because we used the lattice. We lit a beacon, Aiden said. And now the galaxy's showing up. The Veltrax ships began to move again, but not toward the Sealess. They slowly backed away, almost as if they were retreating into the dark. They don't want to be near that new ship, Holt said. They're scared. Aiden nodded. So am I. The alien vessel pulsed once, just once. A soft ripple of light spread out from it like a wave. Nothing exploded. Nothing broke. But Virga's systems began to flicker. System integrity dipping, the AI said. Sensors impacted. Predictive stability reduced. They're not attacking, Naira said. They're showing us. Showing us what? Aiden asked. That they can see us the way we see the Veltrax. Maybe even better. The ship sent another pulse. It's one smaller. Gentle, Virga stabilized. There. Testing us, Naira whispered, seeing if we panic. Seeing if we lash out. Aiden took a deep breath. Then we don't. He walked to the comms panel. Open a channel. Broadcast this. He faced the screen and began to speak. To the unknown vessel, this is Commander Aiden, Locke of the United Nations Space Station Sealess. We understand the power we're working with is new and dangerous. We did not build it for war. Built. It too survived to understand. We offer no threat. But we will not back down. He paused, then added, if you wish to speak, we're ready. If you've come to test us, test this. We chose restraint. When we could have chosen destruction, the alien ship didn't reply. But it didn't leave. Instead, it slowly began to rotate, exposing a massive structure on its underside like a ring. Filled with light, Virga translated the final data stream. Message received, invitation granted, prepare for meeting. Naira's voice was barely above a whisper. We're not just being watched anymore, Aiden nodded. We're being welcomed. Outside, the ring began to glow brighter. Not with threat, with promise. The unknown was no longer a warning. It was an open door. Asterisk. The lights on the bridge dimmed as the strange ship's ring grew brighter. Not blinding, but steady. Calm, like a lighthouse in the dark. Everyone on the Sealess stopped. What they were doing, no one spoke. No one moved. Energy levels are stable, Virga said. No signs of aggression. Radiation harmless. Field interaction is passive. Aiden Locke stood still, watching the screen. So this is it. The invitation. Naira looked up from her console. We think we're the ones watching the stars, but maybe they've been watching us all along. The ring flashed once, a simple pulse. Then the ship sent another signal. It's time. Virga didn't speak right away. Message received, she said finally. Content. We offer a shared field. Step forward. Understand. Aiden frowned. A shared field? They want us to connect, Naira said. Join our phase lattice with theirs. Share. Information. Maybe more. Holt looked uneasy. Feels like a trap. Or a test, Aiden said. But it's one we've trained for. Commander Virga added, a limited connection can be established using a single node. Minimal risk. I recommend using the backup core and observation deck too, Aiden nodded. Do it. Minutes later, they stood in observation deck 2. The stars looked different through the glass, no sharper somehow, like reality itself had thinned. Virga's small secondary core sat in the middle of the room, glowing faint blue. Connection prepared, the AI said. Once engaged, we will share selected lattice data for 4.3 seconds. Enough for a glimpse. Naira stood beside Aiden. We sure we want to be seen that clearly? No, he said. But we didn't build this to hide. Link established, Virga said. Initiating now. The air changed. It didn't explode, didn't shake. Instead, time slowed. Aiden blinked and saw everything and nothing. He stood in the same room, but it wasn't the same. Now the stars outside weren't stars. They were eyes, or thoughts, or windows. He saw the sealess past, present, and possible futures, all at once. He saw Earth. He saw wars that hadn't happened, discoveries not yet made. And he saw them, not people, not creatures. No, it's forms of light and shape. Intelligence wrapped in physics, watching, waiting. Then it was over. He gasped and staggered. So did Naira Holt, watching through the glass, looked panicked. What happened? Aiden leaned against the wall, breathing hard. We didn't see their technology, we saw their thinking. The way they look at the universe. Naira nodded slowly, pale but calm. They don't use space the way we do, or time. Everything is connected for them. They don't move, they shift. Like notes in music. They weren't trying to scare, Usa Saden said. They were showing us what's possible. Verga spoke again. They have accepted our restraint as a sign of understanding. They have offered in exchange. Of what? Holt asked. Knowledge, Verga replied. A partial map of their field lattice. A starting point. A gift. Aiden stepped forward. Upload it carefully. Data poured in light, symbols, equations. But they weren't just numbers. They were instructions, ideas, a whole new way to think about energy, gravity, space itself. Naira stared at the feed. This could change everything. Power generation, medicine, travel. We could build stations that float in folded light, engines that move by adjusting probability. Aiden didn't smile, not yet. What's the price? 8. Verga paused. Nothing. They ask only one thing. Do not weaponize this. Now he smiled. Just a little, then they understand us more than we thought. The alien ship slowly began to move. Not away but across space, folding light around it. As it vanished, one last pulse echoed through the ship. Verga spoke. Final message. You passed. The bridge returned to normal hours later. The Veltrax fleet was gone. No more messages. No more threats. Just silence, but not the empty kind. The Sealess had become something more than a station. It was now. A beacon, a door, a promise. Aiden looked at his crew, the stars. The new data still streaming. They had stepped forward into the unknown, and the unknown had welcomed them. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning. It had been 3 weeks since the alien ship vanished and left behind its gift, a map of energy fields unlike anything humans had ever imagined. The UNSS Sealess floated peacefully above a gas giant now, surrounded by quiet. No threats. No invaders. Just the stars and the slow, steady hum of progress. Commander Aiden Locke walked through the main corridor, nodding to passing crew members. Everyone was busy. Engineers ran tests on the lattice systems. Psst. Scientists held quiet talks with Alien. Delegates now arriving one by one, curious and cautious. The station had changed. So had the people. Dr. Naira Saleen sat in Lab 1, running the latest simulations from the shared field data. The alien knowledge had unlocked ideas that had once belonged only to science fiction. Clean energy, perfect propulsion, quantum healing. Tech-it was all suddenly within reach. We're rewriting our textbooks every day, she told Aiden as he entered. Verga's already updated 3 physics models since breakfast. He smiled. How's the research team handling it? Half excited, half terrified. She grinned. All awake. Aiden walked over to the window. The stars looked different. Now, not because they had changed, but because he had. He used to look up and wonder who might be out there. Now he knew. They weren't gods, he said. Just further ahead. No, they reached back instead of crushing us, Naira replied. That means something. They stood quietly for a moment. Then a call came through. Commander, this is communications, said a young officer over the comm. We've got incoming messages, not hostile. 3 alien civilizations requesting talks. One of them says, and I quote, "We want to understand. The humans who turned fear into silence." Aiden raised his eyebrows. Send them a welcome package. Diplomatic files, basic lattice theory, and coffee. I don't care what species they are, everyone likes coffee. Naira laughed, then turned serious. You think this'll last? I think it has to, Aiden said. We've had our moment, and we prove we deserve it. Later that evening, he returned to the observation deck. Did this every night now, just to stand in silence and watch the stars. Not to wait for threats, but to be ready for the next door to open. Virga's voice was soft. Commander, may I ask something? Of course. Do you think we are still human, now that we've stepped so far ahead? He thought about that. About the invaders who once stalked their halls. About the choice they made not to destroy, but to confuse, to warn, to show restraint. Yes, he said. Because we chose to share instead of rule. Because we didn't use the lattice to break them. We used it to build trust. Pause. Then, I agree. Aiden smiled. Even their AI had changed. The door behind him opened. It was the alien emissary from the Veltrax, once an enemy scout. A quiet observer. He stepped forward, slow and cautious. You continue to surprise us, the alien said. No empire has ever spared our fleets. We're not an empire, Aiden replied. You could be. He turned. That's exactly why we won't. Emissary looked out the window. More will come. Some curious, some afraid, some ready for war. I know. When they ask who you are, what will you say? Aiden thought about it, then answered, We're the ones who lit a torch. In the dark, and waited to see who came walking toward it. The alien didn't respond right away, but after a few moments, he nodded. Then we'll walk with you. The stars outside sparkled, distant, silent, but not empty. For the first time in history, humanity had stepped into the greater galaxy, not as rulers, not as victims, but as something new. Partners, the UNSS Celis, stood as proof of what humanity had built, what they had become, and what they still might be. The journey wasn't over. Asterisk it. Had only just begun.